Gets on that last cone and he messes up, and
I hate
the ball goes.
I hate that.
Over 5 yards.
Is that like George's on the camera here? George's on the
fence.
camera here. It's like wait till you get to striking.
I think what he took away was the fact that hard work definitely pays off. It doesn't necessarily pay off immediately.
That's great.
And
That's
I think
so
at
good.
first, I was thinking in my head as he's banging out these personal bests each week, I'm thinking something needs to go wrong.
What happens when a high school principal and her 9-year-old son fight their way through what holds them back in our 10-week training courses?
All right, guys, I am here at Ledford Senior High School with Melissa Glover, who is a parent of one of our players, a teacher of roughly about 8 years, and an administrator of about 12 to 14 years at this high school. And we have an interesting story to tell you guys about her experience with our 10-week training course over the summer and her son, Miles. So tell us about this summer. Your son, Miles, enrolled in our course through his team. Tell us a little bit about the experience.
So we didn't know what to expect when we enrolled in this 10-week virtual course. So we initially just looked into it and tried to get our bearings and figure out what it was we were supposed to be doing with very little expectation, and found rather quickly that the course was something that was wonderful, particularly for Miles, who was suffering a little bit from self-confidence and not really feeling that he was doing well at playing soccer for whatever reason. And his enrollment in this program has changed that for him completely.
So it's interesting you say confidence. We typically hear, Maria's on over here too, and she would probably tell you the same thing. We typically hear, everybody talks about the skills, but it's the confidence that they're doing it on their own, and their self-confidence that grows, that changes their perspective overnight. Tell us a little bit about how did it change his confidence?
So we knew he had the skill.
Yeah.
We know that he's a good soccer player and he enjoys it. And so certainly it was not the skill piece for him. It was definitely the confidence and being able to do the skill and then see where he fell amongst his peers doing the skill.
The scoreboards.
The
Yes,
scoreboards.
I've seen the scoreboards.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. Really helped boost his
Yep.
confidence, really helped make him want to go further and do better. And he was in a situation where I think he felt that he needed to prove that he could do it.
Yeah, and why is that?
He didn't make the team he wanted to make,
So-
which I think was a great thing for him.
Yeah, and if Miles, we get a chance to get Miles on camera later, I'm going to tell him that. That's one of the most important things of any great player is getting cut. And then you say, I don't care, I'm going forward anyway, I'm going to make it happen. So talk to us about the low point. What were the most difficult things that he did? And as a parent, what were the most difficult things for you and him?
Sure. So, of course, as a parent, because he's invested, I'm invested. I mean, I'm behind that camera saying in my head, come on, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. So, rooting for him to want to, or to get to his goal, is something that I wanted very badly for him. And he was doing that week after week after week after week. And then along the way, we had a couple setbacks. He realized that he was doing 2 of the drills incorrectly.
How do you find that out?
From the red X's that we received. We didn't know for a long time that existed, and I saw it and I clicked on it and thought, oh no, how am I going to break this news to him that he's been doing it incorrectly and we have to start again.
The dreaded red X's, guys, the dreaded red X's. They're very good. No, I think whenever you see that, it's because people care. They're trying to give them feedback.
Right.
It's great.
Well, and he took it like a champ and he learned how to do it. In one of the 2 that he was doing incorrectly, he was able to go back that very next week and beat what he submitted the week before. And the second one we're still working on, but he's now doing it correctly.
So I love hearing this story because this is an example of he's young. He's 9 years old. A young player who got a red X and figured out how to get it done and figured out how to beat it and get it turned green. I assume now it's green. Great. That's great.
On one of the 2, yeah.
So the other idea is personal best. And that's a challenge to try and hit your personal best every week. It gets to a point where it's nearly impossible. So how did you and he navigate that?
Well, that week happened for us last week. Week 9 was the week where.
So we're in week 10 right now.
Yes. So last week Typically by Wednesday or Thursday of each week, he was beating his personal best. But we, of course, continue to do it through Sunday, just because I believe that you should do it every day, as it's outlined, number one. And number two, what if you beat what you already, you know, there's still hope, there's still time. So last week, Wednesday passed, Thursday passed, Friday passed, Saturday passed.
And didn't you send us an email? Didn't you send Maria an email?
I did on Sunday.
Yeah.
So on Sunday morning, we went out at 10 a.m. And I sent the email, I don't know, maybe around 4 p.m. saying, he's still not
going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
What do we still submit? Because I wasn't sure what the process was. She said, absolutely, he'll still get grit points. So he ended up beating one, but at the end of 6 hours, his 6 hours in one day on Sunday, because he was determined, he laid down on the ground, exhausted, and said, I've done all I can do.
I wish I had a picture of that, Miles. I wish I had a picture of that, because that's an incredible story. Because especially now, I've heard other players, professional players do that, college players do that, but I've never heard a 9-year-old player do that. That is that determined to beat his best in one day. That's unreal. So, I want Miles to come over here in a few minutes, and I want to talk to him about a couple of players I want to introduce him to. What do you, as a teacher, as a parent, as a principal, what are the big growth lessons that you took away and that he took away, you think, for the summer?
I think what he took away was the fact that hard work definitely pays off. It doesn't necessarily pay off immediately.
That's great.
And I think at first, I was thinking in my head as he's banging out these personal bests each week, I'm thinking something needs to go wrong. Right? I mean, we have to have
it's too easy to begin with, right?
Right. Yeah. So in week 9, my husband and I had to have a talk with him about, he started saying negative things to himself about himself. And we had to have a talk with him about growth mindset, essentially. You know, like, you have to be okay with failing. You are failing right now. And you have to figure out how you're going to fix that and not dwell on the fact that you're failing and just doing the same thing the same way over and over again. You've got to change it up. You have to learn from it, and then you can go out there and tackle it.
And it's you're required to fail. So we use the quote, I don't know who said this, failure is not an option, it's a biological necessity. To become better at anything, you have to fail. Because if it's piece of cake, you're not really growing, you're not doing anything, you're not learning anything.
Right.
As a teacher, as a what does personal best, what does grit mean to you?
I think it's a key characteristic, an element for success in anything, not just school. But I have a lot of conversations with students. We have students who have everything lined up, have all their goals in order, are always making A's, are successful, and they hit that first failure. Oftentimes that is in high school. They're model students through middle school, and they fail something in high school. And I have to try to explain to them that it's not the end of the world. But that fear of failure, the lack of the growth mindset, is something that I probably deal with more than students who do have the growth mindset. And then we have our group of students who don't have long-term goals necessarily, and sitting down with those students and saying, what is it? What do you really want to do? Whether you think it's acceptable or good enough, what is it you want to do? And then how are you going to work to get there? And getting those kids to put themselves out there, to take the risks, to make themselves uncomfortable in order to achieve those goals.
You know who Angela Duckworth is. So Angela, we've done a lot of work with her and have interviewed her a number of times. You probably might have seen some of the videos. And one of the times, one of the things she said to us is that as much as talent counts, hard work counts twice as much. So, and then perseverance, passion and perseverance counts even more than that. So the kids that stick with it, and I've learned this from my own journey, that it's usually the last man or the last woman standing. They're the people who survive. They thrive because they don't quit. When everybody else decides, I've had enough, they just keep going. They keep grinding out. So if our players, and Miles sounds like he is learning that in an incredible way, if people keep learning that, it's a life lesson.
Absolutely.
So, okay, so if you had one piece of advice for parents, what would it be?
To definitely do the program. I don't think that there's a player who would not benefit from the program. And as your son or daughter goes through the program, I think that being patient with them, being patient with their frustrations, and embracing when they're unsuccessful gives parents and their children an opportunity to have some real conversations about how to be successful in life. I know that for me and Miles, we have gotten a lot closer, I think, on a different level this summer from the program, but every bit of it has been worth it. And I think that I've grown too, and I think my parenting has grown from it as well.
Yeah, that's I've heard that pretty consistently. It's quality time together. It's not, now when the kids get older, by the time they're 12, 13, we would like them to be about 50% totally independent, meaning they're doing a lot of the technology themselves. By the time they're 16, we want them to completely have it.
Mm-hmm.
So if the parent wants to be involved, they can be. But at a young age, like 9, it does. You have to, especially if he's really committed and you're committed, what an amazing set of stories that you'll have for the rest of his life, your lives together. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'd love to do is bring Miles in. And Maria, would you please grab that, bring Miles in. Come on in, Miles.
Come here, Bug. Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I'll take that. And then you can make sure that he's included here. Come on in here, Miles. So, Miles, I'm super proud of you.
Thank
And I
you.
think it's a big deal what you've done, and you and your mom have done. It's really special. So, and I'd love to have Dad come in too. Wayne, if you would. It's just really special for him to experience this. And tell me about the last week. How many hours you put in the last week? Because
6.
you were determined. Well, that was
One
Sunday. What were the total? Well, it's Sunday. How many hours you put in on Sunday?
Like 6.
Yeah, about 6. But what about the whole week? It was a big week for you, wasn't it? It's a huge week. Probably more than double that. So you're pretty young. So what I would love to do is for you to have something really special.
Stand up.
And
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. You earned it. Now look at the back of that too and read it off to me. Read it off so that people can hear you what it says.
If it is to be, it is up to be.
Up to me.
Up to me.
Yeah, say it one more time.
If it is to me to be, it is up to me.
What does that mean? What does that mean to you think? Your parents can help you, your coaches, your teachers can help you, but at the end of the day, it's really, are you willing to do the work? And you prove to yourself that you're willing to do the work, and that's amazing. It's an amazing, amazing journey that you went on this summer. And I'm really proud of you, buddy.
Thank you.
Yeah, good stuff. And Dad, what was your experience with this?
Just seeing his transformation from the time that he started
Yeah.
into where he's at now. It started out good,
Yeah.
and it got really bad, and he found somewhere.
So tell me about, what do you mean by really bad? What happened?
He gets frustrated.
Frustrated,
He
yeah.
just can't do it, or he gets on that last cone and he messes up, and
I hate
the ball
that
goes
is the
over
worst.
5 yards.
Is that like Jordan's on the camera here?
Respond.
Jordan's on the camera here. It's like wait till you get to striking. Wait till you get to striking, where you have to get 5 in a row in a certain part of the goal at a certain distance, and you got 4, and you're like, I got this, and the 5th one hits the post, and you got to start over. Do you know who Steph Curry is? You ever heard of Steph Curry?
That's my favorite NBA player.
Okay, well, I love Steph Curry, and the reason why he's a role model in his commitment to training on his own. He will hit the way he became great. They talked about him in high school, and they said that he would come to the clinics, he'd come to practice before everybody else, and before anybody else had a chance to even get warmed up, he had already been out on the court taking 150 to 250 shots. And so while everybody else is kind of putting their flip-flops on and kind of he's already done he's got it fully warmed up, and he won't leave any practice until he gets 5 free throw swishes in a row. And I remember this coach said, do you know how hard that is? Every single practice, he won't leave until he gets that. So that sounds like you.
Tell them your rule about when we're going to switch to a new one. What is the rule? If we're going to switch like from 20 cones to 10 cones, what do you have to do before you can switch?
Complete it.
Complete it.
So you don't leave the court, like he says, until I get it right. So what would you tell other kids your age that have never trained with us? What would you say?
I would say
Is it easy?
no.
No, it's not. Is it rewarding? Meaning, do you feel good about yourself? Yeah.
after each week when you beat something, you always accomplish something.
Yeah, you feel good about yourself. That's really great. That's a great story. All right, guys. Dad, any other observations?
Other than that, now I think he's a better person.
Yeah.
I think he's got all the confidence in the world to go
That's
out on the
wonderful.
field and play a good game.
Yep.
And I've been using your guys' extra videos of like how to do like the pullbacks, and I've been using them in my scrimmages.
Oh, good. Good. All right. Congratulations. You really did great. And Mom and Dad, you've done a heck of a job with him.